This is the Holy Stone HS600D drone, and I'm sharing my honest experience after putting real hours on it in different spots and weather. I picked it up because the spec sheet promises a lot for the money. A 3-axis mechanical gimbal, 4K 30 FPS video, 48 megapixel stills, 2 batteries, and a long-range wired relay link that claims up to 20,000 feet. On paper, it looks like a step up from toy drones, and in practice, it mostly is, especially for stable flying and smooth video, though there are quirks you should know about. From my experience, setup takes a little patience the first few outings. Powering on the drone and controller, waiting for GPS lock, and getting the gimbal to initialize adds up to roughly 40 seconds to a minute. I get frequent compass calibration prompts. The process is quick. Spin it horizontally, then vertically, but it pops up more often than I'm used to with pricier drones. It's not a deal breaker, just a ritual. The HS Fly app pairs reliably through the wired relay, and the controller has a simple non-video screen that shows signal, GPS, and battery at a glance, which I like. Key features that stood out to me are the 3-axis brushless gimbal, electronic image stabilization on top of that, the wired relay for stronger video transmission than basic Wi-Fi, and GPS safety tools like Return to Home. If you're new to this, a 3-axis gimbal is the little motorized platform that keeps the camera steady not just up, down, and side-side, but also as the drone yaws left-right. EIS is digital smoothing that trims the frame a bit to remove tiny jitters the gimbal misses. Together, they make the footage look stable, even when the drone is dealing with gusts. The camera is marketed as 8K, and here's the plain version. It records 4K 30 FPS video to the micro SD card, and it can shoot high-resolution stills up to 48 megapixels. The 8K idea applies to still images, not video. In my opinion, the video is the strong point. Colors lean a touch cool by default, especially on overcast days or around snow and water, but the picture is crisp and the stabilization works well. Panning shots are smooth, and even in breezy conditions, the footage stays very usable. I've seen the horizon tilt a few degrees during fast yaw moves. It's not constant, but it happens, and I fix it in post when I notice it. The live view to the phone is lower resolution than the final file, so don't judge sharpness from the preview. Stills are more hit and miss. The sensor can capture detail, but the JPEG processing gets noisy faster than I expected, even in decent light. There's no RAW option and limited manual control, which means you can't fine-tune shutter speed or ISO. You do get basic controls for white balance, sharpness, and saturation in the app, but it's still point and shoot. For casual snaps, it's fine. For serious photo work, it's not the tool I'd grab. Flight performance is where it earns its keep. At 603 grams with brushless motors, it sits firmly in the registered drone category in the US, but the weight helps it hold position in wind. I've flown it in steady breezes and short gusts that would make smaller drones bobble around, and the HS600D stayed planted well enough to keep video smooth. Controls are responsive and predictable. It doesn't feel as locked in as top-tier systems, but it's confidence-inspiring for the price. GPS hover is steady, and transitions between moves are smooth once you adjust Expo in the app to your taste. Battery life is a reality check moment. The listing says up to 40 minutes per battery. From my experience, I average about 23 to 26 minutes per pack in mild wind, flying mixed speeds, and recording 4K. In cold weather, I've seen it dip closer to 20. That's still respectable, and since it comes with 2 batteries, I get close to an hour across a shoot without rushing. I like that the batteries self-discharge for storage safety, and the controller prompt for low battery. Return to home kicks in consistently. About the transmission range, the 20,000 feet number is best case, wide open conditions. I kept flights within visual line of sight and local rules. Within that, I pushed it as far as I safely could and got a clean feed at distances that would normally trip up plain Wi-Fi drones. The wired relay connection between phone and controller seems to reduce interference compared to wireless phone links I've used before. You still need to aim the antennas and avoid heavy obstacles, but for suburban and open field flying, the signal held strong for me. On the feature side, GPS return to home, low battery RTH, and signal loss RTH all behaved as expected. It has optical flow and a TOF sensor for basic positioning when GPS is weak, which helps it hold place over textured ground, though I wouldn't fly it tight indoors. The automated shots are where I've had mixed results. Simple follow mode and waypoint routes worked fine. Subject-based moves like circles and spirals were inconsistent, sometimes drifting off the subject or adjusting altitude oddly mid-shot. I found it faster to frame those moves manually and let the gimbal do its job. Panorama saves a stitched image to the phone, but it's not full resolution, And there's no option to export the separate frames for editing, which would be a nice update. I ran into a couple of quirks worth mentioning. One time I powered the drone down while it was still recording, and the clip corrupted. That's on me, but it's a reminder to stop recording before shutdown. I also had one instance where the drone drifted a few feet off its hold point during a strong gust and took a second to recover. It wasn't scary, but it caught my attention. I had a minor crash early on into soft grass that bent a prop. After swapping in a spare and recalibrating the compass and IMU, everything worked normally. The build is plastic and doesn't feel premium, but it's solid enough, and the gimbal cover does its job if you remember to remove it before power on. Support matters when you're new or when things go sideways. I reached out to Holy Stone once for a part and once for a stability question. The part took longer than I wanted to arrive, but it did show up, and the flight question got a quick, useful response. From my experience, their team is responsive and tries to make things right, and that's reassuring. It's perfect for someone who wants a stable 4K video platform with a real gimbal, solid wind handling, and an honest all-in-one kit. The carrying case, extra props, cables, and a second battery make it feel complete without buying an add-on bundle. The controller's small screen that shows essential info is a simple touch I appreciated, especially when the phone app UI gets busy. The drone includes remote ID, which is convenient in the US, and because it's over 250 grams, you should register it and fly within your local rules. That's standard at this size, and the trade-off is real stability outdoors. In my opinion, the biggest gap is still photography. If you're hoping to edit RAW files or tweak exposure like a camera nerd, you won't find that here. The app could use polish in places, especially around creative modes and media handling. Intelligent shots need refining, and I'd love more manual camera control in a firmware update. The good news is the core flight experience and video quality are strong enough that I kept reaching for it when I wanted simple, smooth 4K footage without fuss. I'd recommend this for intermediate hobbyists stepping up from mini drones, newcomers who want a forgiving first real drone for video, and anyone who flies in breezy conditions where lighter craft struggle. If you're a photographer who cares more about stills than video, or if you rely heavily on automated cinematic moves, you might get frustrated. If your priority is smooth 4K video and solid flight at a fair price, this checks the boxes. In conclusion, the Holy Stone HS600D gives you a lot of the right hardware: a 3-axis gimbal, reliable GPS, long flight sessions with 2 batteries, and a stronger link than basic Wi-Fi systems. The video is the highlight, the flight handling is steady and confidence-building, and the package value is real. The downsides are mostly on the software and photo side, plus a few quirks you learn to work around. From my experience, it's a capable everyday flyer for 4K video that earns its spot in the bag, as long as you set expectations around stills and automated modes. If this video helped, please subscribe to the channel, drop your questions or your own HS600D tips in the comments, and I'll do my best to reply. Thank you for watching.